At least 12 dead and 18 critical as a huge fire engulfs a tower block in West London. Hundreds of families, many of them with young children, were in the 24-storey building. It's feared some were unable to escape as the fire quickly spread.
We saw people looking out the windows screaming help, help, flashing their lights and everything. And now all those windows, people are gone.
Trapped families used bed sheets and clothes to attract attention. One even threw a baby to safety.
A lady appeared at the window, gesturing, body language, from what she was saying, I'm about to throw my baby, please catch the baby.
I'm live in West London with the latest on this appalling tragedy. And tonight, questions for investigators. Residents warned of a catastrophic event over fire safety just a few months ago.
From West London, this is the ITV Evening News with Mary Nightingale.
Good evening from West London, where Grenfell Tower is still smouldering this evening, and it's still not clear how many perished inside. So far, 12 deaths have been confirmed, but police say the final total could be far higher. The fire took hold in the early hours of this morning, spreading rapidly to engulf the 24-storey block. Many residents were trapped inside their flats in desperate scenes. One even threw a baby to safety. Some jumped. Fire chiefs described it as unprecedented, and there are serious questions tonight over the safety of the block. In the first of our reports is Dan Rivers on the deadly tower block fire.
With horrifying ferocity, the fire consumed Grenfell Tower in minutes. A 24-floor inferno from which there was no escape for some. Trapped by smoke and flames, residents signalled their plight from on high as the building disintegrated around them. On this mobile phone footage, the cries for help are chilling.
We saw people looking out the windows screaming help, flashing their lights and everything. And now all those windows, people are gone, literally gone.
No, I saw one person trying to jump out, one actually jump out, and obviously what happened, it's just a nightmare.
The streets around Grenfell Tower were soon full of those who'd escaped its flames. Children among those suffering from the acrid fumes. An exhausted little girl is cradled as the shock and bewilderment sink in. Many here have lost everything. Some are still unsure what's happened to neighbours, friends, loved ones. And above them, the fire raged on. As the sky lightened, the flames continued to devour the building. This was the view from the South Bank. The plume of smoke visible for 20 miles. With daylight, stories of extraordinary escape started to emerge.
A lady appeared at the window, gesturing, body language, from what she was saying, I'm about to throw my baby, please catch the baby. And the baby, I think, was wrapped in some sort of bed sheet blanket, and she threw the baby as the baby came down. And this was about approximately from the 9th or 10th floor. A member of the public, a gentleman, ran forward and miraculously grabbed the baby. And like I said, above you, from the left, from the right, mostly kids, it was harrowing, torturing screams for help, young kids. And I could also, where the fire was now spreading, people were reaching out from the front window, trying to grasp a bit of fresh air, trying to breathe. They looked like they were struggling. And there were, at one point, one window, about 4 or 5 heads all squeezing their heads through. It was honestly like a horror movie.
Some had knotted sheets together in an attempt to escape, but even this left them several floors short of safety.
People were jumping off buildings, people were screaming, help me, help me, help me. I've seen videos of people stuck in the second and third floor, I think, where they were shouting out for help, held out things for help.
And there's like a guy hanging down.
He was trying to escape.
Trying to jump.
The cause of the fire is unknown, but one resident claims it spread from her neighbour's flat, possibly a faulty appliance.
The fire started from their kitchen, but I don't know exactly from which problem, I don't know. But it was from their kitchen because the flat door it was open.
It's already clear the death toll will be significant. Up to 600 people lived in Grenfell House in 120 flats. For those who were on the very upper floors, the odds of survival seem slim. Those fighting the fire confirmed today how challenging it's been to extinguish.
This was an unprecedented fire in terms of scale, speed and spread. And just to reiterate that point, the incident continues to be a challenging incident for us. I'm extremely proud of the efforts of our firefighters in bringing this fire under control in what is a traumatic and difficult incident.
This is going to be a long and complex recovery operation, and I do anticipate that the number of fatalities will sadly increase.
There is speculation a gap behind recently added external cladding may have created a chimney effect, allowing the flames to spread. Some had to wait all night before they escaped. This man was still calling for help 6 hours after the fire started. At times, he disappeared into clouds of smoke. But incredibly, he did finally make it out, one of 65 rescued from Grenfell Tower today. Tonight, while most of the flames have been put out, the charred shell of the tower block continues to smoulder. It may be days before the final death toll is known, and much longer before the cause of this tragedy is pinpointed. Dan Rivers, ITV News.
Fire crews say they have now worked their way through almost all of the flats, searching for victims. But tonight there are still many residents unaccounted for. And that means an anxious wait, of course, for their loved ones. Geraint Vincent reports on friends and family fearing the worst.
On the edges of this disaster, people search for news of loved ones.
I haven't got information.
But rarely do they find anything more than sympathy. Who are you looking for?
I'm looking for my two cousins. My brother, he's in the 20th floor, and my another cousin is in the 19th floor. She's a lady in my age, and she have a daughter. And my cousin, he's a single man, he's living by himself. And my children been everywhere in the hospitals, they couldn't find them, and they don't know what to do.
Nashua is missing a number of family members, among them her brother Hisham, who she hasn't heard from since the alarm was raised last night.
She called. Nobody answer. She called.
You've been trying to ring her, but no one's answering.
No, after 1:30, nobody answer. No. I call my best friend. Is like my sister. With her daughter, she's not answer.
Every time they looked up today, people in this neighbourhood could see catastrophe. And then there was the wait to find out if someone they knew or somebody they loved had been caught up in it.
One of my sister, and her son is 12 years old.
Nageste's sister Berkti lived with her son Brooke on the 18th floor. She knows from their next door neighbour that they tried to get out, but she doesn't know if they made it.
He already told her, wake up, and she told him when the door, she want to leave, and she told him, let's go out. And after that, because of the smoke, because of the darkness, there is no light, so they don't know.
Now you're just waiting?
I'm just waiting. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to go. So I'm just waiting.
In the search for the missing, groups of friends got together. 12-year-old Lulya Beniam hasn't been seen since she was separated from her mother as they fled the fire.
Some managed to get out and some tripped on bodies that were on the stairs, and then there was a break-up at that point. And we just don't know what emergency services where they've taken the children to, and we need to know.
Tonight, Saber Nader is also among the missing. In the early hours of this morning, he told his wife and son to leave their top-floor flat without him because he had been injured. His and many other families are yet to discover whether this tragedy has engulfed them. Geraint Vincent, ITV News.
Throughout the day, there have been moving accounts from people who were rescued or perhaps managed to escape the fire by themselves. They know that they're the lucky ones, but they've lost their possessions and they've lost their homes. Rebecca Barry on the survivors' stories.
As the charred skeleton still smoulders, those people who are just minutes away from tragedy relive what they went through.
I heard a woman's voice going, "It's getting bigger, it's getting bigger." So I ran to the front door, looked through the spy hole and there's smoke everywhere.
Michael escaped from the 7th floor with his girlfriend and her 5-year-old daughter.
So I've grabbed the little girl, swept her out of her bed. She don't know what's happening. I've put her in my arms, I've put the thing over her head, my dressing gown. Then I've gone into Mum's room. "Mum, wake up, we've got to get out the fires." She's all like, "What's going on, what's going on?"
What was going through your mind when you were coming down those stairs? You couldn't...
Get out, get out, get out, and don't fall, you know, because I've got the kid in my arms, and I think if I fall, people are coming up behind me.
And were there any safety procedures? Did you know about a fire alarm, fire exit?
No, and I didn't hear no fire alarm until I tried to listen to that one, and it was like, so it wouldn't have woke you up. If it was another 5 minutes and I'd have slept, we would have perished, because the smoke would have come under the door, and that it was thick black.
And people were at the windows?
Yeah, there was people at the windows. When I was looking up, I could see a silhouette of three young kids. They mustn't be no older than their teens. And they said, they're banging on the windows. I'm like, look at them kids up there. And the firemen were firing the hoses to keep it cool. And next thing, bang, it exploded. And then there was no more sign of the 3 silhouettes.
Guys, anyone need water?
Muna was in her flat on the 11th floor with her 3 children when a friend phoned to warn her.
I just wake up my children. My son just didn't even get a chance to get dressed. I just said, you know what, just out, let's go, let's go. I opened the door, the flames came in, so I closed because I was so frightened. I didn't know, are we burning? And then I managed to open it again and just closed our nose and just escaped through the stairs. We saw people jumping from the windows, we saw people screaming, we saw flames coming down. It's not a nice scene at all. People screaming for help, it's not nice.
Yes, these people survived, but they're left with an indelible trauma. Rebecca Barry, ITV News.
Well, more than 70 people have been treated in several hospitals, and tonight some remain in a critical condition. Sejal Karia is outside St Mary's in West London. So, Sejal, what's the latest you can tell us about the injured?
Well, St Mary's is one of 5 hospitals across London that are still treating 34 patients, 18 of whom are in a critical condition. 3 of those who are critically ill are here at St Mary's, who are treating a total of 11 patients, mostly for the effects of smoke inhalation. And there have been some distressing scenes here, Mary, where people have been frantically searching for missing relatives. One woman I spoke to was searching for her cousin, who was on the 21st floor when the fire broke out. She managed to ring a friend to say that she was stuck before her phone line went dead. There's been no word from her since.
Sejal Karia at St Mary's, thank you. Well, still to come on the ITV Evening News, the questions facing investigators and the safety concerns over the tower block. We'll have more from West London after this short break. Hello again, welcome back to West London. Now, one of the most appalling aspects of the tragedy that unfolded here is that there have been repeated safety warnings, including from residents themselves. Only last year they had complained that it would take a major fire for their fears to be taken seriously. And there are questions tonight over the type of material used to clad the block. Chris Choi reports on the missed warnings.
All our warnings fell on deaf ears, wrote residents today. A catastrophe like this was inevitable.
We've been talking about this kind of thing happening. We've said amongst ourselves a few times, the worst that could happen would be a tragedy.
Central to the safety investigation now will be residents' fears about a refurbishment 1 year ago. Here you can see the building's exterior where grey and white cladding panels were added. In the words of one eyewitness, they went up like a matchstick.
It was flames shooting out from the top of the cladding, the chute.
Plans for the tower's modernisation show those cladding panels. Experts say guidelines on their use are badly out of date.
It's 11 years since it has had a review. Normally approved documents which provide the guidance to building regulations are reviewed every 3 to 5 years. 11 years is too long.
Another question for the investigation surrounds the stay-put policy. In a neighbouring block, we filmed signs like those at Grenfell Tower, telling residents to remain in their flats if there was a fire elsewhere in the building. This fire brigade union official says that advice has been widespread for more than 50 years, but must now be reviewed.
I think they have to look at that and say, is it the right model, given the way that this building's been refurbished, and is it the right advice we continue to give?
A vital issue for the investigation will be alarms and sprinklers. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon now, and still there are flames on the upper story. If this tower had been built today, it would have had a sprinkler system.
This building was apparently built in 1974, and at that time there was no requirement to fit sprinklers, and none of our regulations are retrospective.
The fire investigation will also look at how the building was managed. Kensington and Chelsea Tenant Management Organisation did the job for the local council. They also run this block nearby. A fire here at Adair Tower in 2015 led to an enforcement notice for failure to make a suitable fire risk assessment or maintain adequate emergency routes. Tonight, the organisation said it has met all regulations.
We do listen to people, and we have listened to people, and that's what we're doing. Now, you can rightly understand at the moment I cannot make any comment about all the accusations that are going about because I've got an ongoing police and fire brigade investigation.
Now tonight, as many struggle even to find words for this, safety investigators must begin to find answers. Chris Choi, ITV News.
Well, tonight the government is saying other tower blocks undergoing refurbishment will be checked for safety. Our business editor Joel Hills is at the headquarters of one of the companies which worked on Grenfell Tower. And Joel, what's the company saying about its role tonight?
Well, look, Ryden Group, Mary, is essentially a construction and maintenance company. It does work for a lot of local authorities across London and the southeast of England, and it won the contract to upgrade the tower block, the Grenfell Tower block, in April 2014. It was paid almost £9 million to install double glazing, to reclad the exterior, and also to upgrade the heating system. No statements, interviews today. Statement, though, it said that the news of the fire was shocking, and that the work carried out on that site, Mary, met with all the required building control and safety standards. Now, the cladding work was actually subcontracted, we've learned, to another local company here. It was called Harley Facades Limited. It fitted, it said, the aluminium panels to the exterior of the building, but it did not manufacture them. It has issued a statement and said this incident was incredibly tragic. Both companies are promising to cooperate with the investigation. My understanding is when the work was completed on this project in summer last year that the council signed it off.
Joel Hills, thank you very much indeed. Well, we've seen in recent weeks how the worst of times can bring out the very best in people too, and that has been very much an evidence here. People have been helping those affected in any way they can, with food, shelter, clothing, or simply just a shoulder to cry on. And there's been an incredible response too from the emergency services, as Chris Shipp reports.
There's a family there, there's a kid. A firefighter would tell you it's their job, but when you see a ladder attempting to rescue people against flames like these, a job doesn't come more difficult and traumatic than this. And the battle they fought went long into the morning, carrying people out before turning round and going back in. Emergency services in London have answered a major incident call 3 times now in recent weeks, 2 because of an intentional attack by terrorists, now because of the worst kind of accident.
I walked up and I just saw this inferno.
Simone Williams is a nurse, off duty at the time, but on duty as soon as she saw what had happened.
We were just collecting all the blankets and we were wrapping the patients up, keeping them warm. One particular woman, she can't find her 12-year-old daughter, and it was just trying to keep this woman contained. And as a mother, I don't know how you'd be contained to watch that and still can't find your child.
And because of stories like that, and sadly many others, donations of water, of blankets, of clothes and food have been turning up here every minute of the day.
I grew up here. And also the public's help has been overwhelming. It's been amazing. Community, people donating.
But what you hear from so many people who live next to this block is an account of what they saw last night, coupled with the trauma of not being able to help.
They're not images or sounds that you can sort of get out of your head very easily, are they?
I can't, especially hearing the children. I have kids of my own, and that has really kind of affected me, to be honest, because it's harrowing. You cannot describe it.
And Chris, you've been here all day, and the shock of what's happened is still very raw, isn't it?
Yeah, a couple of things, Mary. I think you'll have experienced this. When you see that building with your own eyes for the first time, it really is quite a shock. And I think the other thing I'll take away from here is the number of stories I've heard today of people who were just so helpless last night. Remember, this is a densely part of West London. A lot of people live on all four corners of that block. So many people were in such close proximity to those who were in a desperate situation last night, and there was nothing that they could do to help. And I've just walked here through the housing estate, and yet still tonight there are supplies of food, donations of water still coming in. But I mean, they're all looking up at that building at the moment in complete silence.
And still the fire hoses are playing on that hot, smouldering building. Terrifying. Chris, thank you very much indeed. And that is all for now. Julie Etchingham will be here with news at 10, but from me and all the team here, have a very good evening.